like a restraining order.
It's like Christmas. Christmas morning, you only get to see Santa.
This is Patricia McCauley. I met you, oh my gosh, it's been almost 30 years ago. You realize that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She comes to us from Belleek. And if Mother Nature can kiss a tiny little community, it would be Belleek. Because there is a deposit of clay that God only put in one little area on this entire vast planet, and it makes for the finest Korean china that you can find anywhere in the world. And what you do with it in your community is awesome.
That's for sure.
These are my favorites. I asked for these to be in the show. These are, now you did the honey hive last year, right?
Yes.
The strawberry is new, am I correct?
Yes, we did just the one with the shamrock. Both of these are new for
okay, both of these
year.
are new.
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
But these reside where the first conversations of the day begin, at the breakfast table.
At the breakfast table, yes.
And they're magnificent. What do we have here?
We have a honey pot and a jam or jelly jar.
So whether you put honey in there, a good marmalade,
yes,
a little jelly. Jelly shouldn't be in a jar. That just takes away the joy.
One with the strawberries for the jelly.
Yes.
Yes, we put the strawberry jelly in there, or the jam.
But in all the years that I've been collecting from Belleek, I have no flatware, so to speak, from you folks at all. This would be the very first spoon.
No. Yeah.
So how does this all happen? Because this is all done by hand in a way that very few companies can make china anymore.
That's right. We're the oldest working pottery in Ireland, 161 years in business.
Okay.
And quite rightly so, Dan, the reason that Belleek is made in Belleek is because the raw materials were found on site. And that magnificent building that you visited was purpose built.
For that, yes.
For that. So to think that so long ago, such a fantastic building.
And it's right on the edge of the river.
Right on the edge of the river.
And they start with an original mold that's made by hand. Everything, by the way, is made by hand. And then from that mold, then they can pour the liquid clay in called slip. And it doesn't even look like mud. It came from the ground, but it has this purity to it. And then they put it in a kiln and they fire it. And it gets little. It starts off big and it gets little.
There's a shrinkage of about 14%.
Which, same as I get older. I used to be taller. And then they start hand touching every piece. And they accent these wonderful little, I love that hive. I think that's the coolest look. And then they hand paint and they fire and they glaze. And every single one of these, if I'm not mistaken, yes, I've got it upside down, but has that Belleek signature.
Yes. And if you just look inside the lip there of the lid, you have the painter's mark just right in there as well.
You always hide them. It's like a little Where's Waldo. There it is.
Yeah.
So each painter has their own mark.
That's right.
So you know who each one is. And now we have, and they're the right size. I had to write it down because I'm not good with measurements here. It's 5.5 inches for height and about 4 inches in diameter. And every one of these is handcrafted.
Handcrafted, hand painted, and I mean, if you can just hold the definition on this wee one, you have the bee. Just right there on the lid.
I'm on a bee sermon right now.
You're on a bee sermon.
Without bees, we don't have food.
That's true.
There are pollinators, and bees are disappearing from the planet. My wife and I live on a farm, and we're adding hives this year.
Okay.
So that we can have anything with bees on it, I love.
Yeah, we've quite a few beekeepers in and around Belleek, and of course, as you said, the bees then help to pollinate the fruit and that, which is why, again, many years ago, we gathered the fruit from the country lanes and the blackberries and the strawberries and all of that to make our jams, and it was just a way of living.
That's so
and
good.
And there's one, the green one on that one there. And if we
do the painters all have? Do they use a different color for their mark?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No, it's usually one of the colors which they're.
But I've seen the paintbrushes that these ladies work with, and some of them, I'm not exaggerating, are a single hair.
That's right. Yeah,
a single hair for them to dot the strawberries on the spoon, which is teeny tiny.
And on both of the spoons, you'll notice we have the handmade flower.
Okay.
And the leaf there as well.
Let me turn that a little bit. There we go. Sorry.
So that's the strawberry plant. And on the other one, it looks like little sunflower.
Little sunflowers.
Yes.
I think this is remarkable. First time that I had seen these, I didn't even get a chance to see these last year. The ones that you did, because they sold out so quickly.
That's right, yes.
They were,
Right.
I mean, we kind of said hello, goodbye, that was it, we were done.
Yeah.
So this is one of those pieces. Belleek, for a lot of people who are collectors, are pieces that they never touch because they were held in such reverence. Well, what Patricia has taught me, use them every day.
Yes.
They're here to bring joy.
Exactly.
Fill it with jelly, fill it with honey, put it on the kitchen table and enjoy it every day.
And if you have no jam, you can put the jelly tots in there.
I like that. Thank you, it's good to see you.
You too, Dan.
Coming up a little bit later on, one of my favorite items in the entire 2 hours from Kilronan.